between 0 to 100, what is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and killed him?
Based on the evidence right now, I don't know. I'd say 75, 85%.
Candace?
0%.
0%.
I'm at 0.
So
with what we've seen in terms of the evidence, I'm at 0%.
So not only, that maybe somebody was behind him as a patsy influencing him. You're not even saying that he didn't even shoot Charlie Kirk.
Right. I would, if you said, was he involved that day, as I have consistently said on my platform, I would say yes, he was. I don't know what role he played, but as the shooter, 0%.
Do you have any evidence for it?
For what? My percentage?
The fact that he didn't shoot and kill Charlie Kirk.
Yes, which I'm hoping we're going to get to all of the evidence that he feels that he has. I mean, I'm not even.
Okay, I'm going to just stop it there, folks. 0%. 0%. Now, again, we'd laugh if she said 30% or 50%. She said 0%. Folks, 0%, or in Animal House terms, with Blutarsky's grade, 0.0. I mean, the answer right off the bat tells you two things. Candace is fundamentally unserious about the truth, and also her pathetic cultist fans are both brainwashed and brain dead. Okay? At least if you're going to kind of run this grift a little bit, give a half-ass answer. Say 40%. Okay, don't say. I mean, if you're basically saying 0%, okay, it literally gives you a great insight into where her head is at in this whole thing and what her motive is. But again, let's go on to the next one. The next one is I want to talk about hearsay versus reliable hearsay. Boy, this one is really, really telling. So let's see if we can grab the clip.
For what? My percentage?
The fact that he didn't shoot and kill Charlie Kirk.
Yes, which I'm hoping we're going to get to all of the evidence that he feels that he has. I mean, I'm not even convinced that Charlie was shot from the rooftop on Losi that day, based on the evidence that has been.
Do you think he was shot?
I do not think that Charlie was shot from a 30-06 from Losi.
Yeah, but just shot at all.
I don't know. I think that a projectile hit Charlie, and I'm open to other people's presentations, but I have not seen any compelling evidence that Charlie was shot by a 30-06.
Can we see maybe if we're going to have an olive branch to each other, if maybe we can establish what we consider the facts of the case to be first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you're not sure if he was actually shot. You're open to alternative theories.
He was definitely hit with a projectile of some description. If we're talking about was he shot from a gun, a 30-06, I would say definitively no.
Okay.
It defies common sense to think that he had a Superman neck, and even if he did have a Superman neck, which has been demonstrated, I think actually recently a YouTuber actually set up Valhalla steel cages and shot it, and it went through. So,
Okay. So, as we'll see, this is a common theme throughout the entire debate, and also my recap, which is Candace keeps referring to hearsay versus reliable hearsay. She uses the terms interchangeably. They're not interchangeable. They're the furthest thing from interchangeable, folks. Folks, there's a giant difference in standards between hearsay and reliable hearsay. And all throughout this entire debate, Candace is wrongly interpreting one for the other. It's as different as Andrew saying murder versus aggravated murder. It's a massive, massive difference. So let's take a look at the actual definition. I know it was shown a lot during the debate, but not really gone into in any kind of detail. So let's take a look at the actual meaning for it. What is the legal definition of reliable hearsay? Hearsay, I'm going to skip down to here. Hearsay ordinarily means an out-of-court statement offered to prove what the statement says is true. Reliable hearsay is hearsay that Utah law permits a judge to consider at a criminal preliminary hearing because its form or source provides recognized assurances of reliability. That is a really, really big stage there. Again, I know this was referred to a lot in the debate. Utah Rules 1102, they list the 9 of them. Again, we can go over them really fast. Hearsay that would already be admissible at trial under a recognized exception. Statements covered by Rule 804. Evidence establishing the foundation of authenticity of an exhibit. Scientific, laboratory or forensic reports and records. Medical and autopsy reports. Statements made by a non-testifying police officer. Certain recorded statements by child victims, a statement that is written, recorded, or transcribed verbatim, and was either made under oath or made after the person was warned that a false statement was punishable. Other hearsay possessing similar indicia of reliability, even if it would not be admissible. Okay, look, folks, this really shows just how disingenuous Candace really is. Reliable hearsay is a medical examiner's reports. It's DNA evidence. It is not exploding mics, maroon shirts, Egyptian planes, foreign legion, tunnels underground. It's not any of that bullshit. Give me a fucking break, okay? So the whole thing was littered, her whole debate was littered with hearsay versus reliable hearsay. I wish that Andrew would have pounded away a lot more on that differentiation because it really gave her so much latitude to basically say pretty much anything she wanted with impunity without being challenged. And again, PBD, not that it's the moderator's debate to challenge her thoughts. We don't want that to happen, or his thoughts. We don't want him to challenge anyone's thoughts. But the whole sequencing of and line of questioning between hearsay and reliable hearsay, I just found to be completely comical. Let's jump to the third one.
Evidence under Utah's 1102 rule.
But this doesn't demonstrate any patsy
No, that's
behavior.
very important because that rule is hearsay. So you can't say at the same time,
Great.
Candace, you're not allowed to. And what that means under the Utah rule, which I'm sure you know, because I'm sure you watched the preliminary hearing and yourself understand what that means, is that the entire hearing was hearsay. It means none of that information that was presented is going to be allowed. The majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it is not going to be allowed at the trial. They're allowed to present when it's just a probative hearing.
I don't think all the evidence that was.
Folks, I'm just going to stop it right here. Oh, and before I continue with this, I apologize because I tried to do a Blutarsky 0.0 impression. I did it really bad. My apologies for that. Let me try this again, okay?
0.0.
Thank you. All right, let's now continue with pretrial evidence not allowed at the trial, okay? Candace just said, we all just heard it, the majority of what was presented at the pretrial is not going to be allowed at the trial. Those were her exact words. Folks, literally, this is Candace's biggest lie, or just plain unforgivable ignorance in this whole debate. Let's go to the slide. At the Tyler Robinson pretrial hearing between Rule 1102 of reliable hearsay and direct non-hearsay portion, how much of that pretrial evidence is projected to be used at the actual trial? Remember, Candace just stood there in front of millions of people and said, the majority of what was presented in pretrial is not going to be allowed. Majority. You want to get technical, we'll say that she means 51%. If you really pressed her on it, she would probably say, and I think she actually said it later on in the debate, she believes that about 80 to 90, if not close to 100%, almost everything that was said in the pretrial hearing is not going to be used in the actual trial. Oh, okay, let's look at that. We just asked the question, there's the projected breakdown. So 35% is going to come from direct testimony, which 90 to 95% of that is going to reach the trial. A Rule 1102 reliable hearsay that was presented in the pretrial hearing, which accounted for 40 to 45%. 85 to 95% is going to reach the trial. Rule 1102 material requiring a different witness or evidentiary foundation. So in other words, what was presented is going to be fine. Might have a different witness or expert presenting it. That accounted for about 15 to 20%. 70 to 90% will be allowed at trial and will be making its way to trial. Only about 5 to 10% is unlikely. So, folks, Candace's big lie there of almost everything is not going to make it from the pretrial to the trial. Here is the actual thing. That produces the overall estimate of roughly 93% of the prosecution's preliminary hearing case reaching trial in some way, shape, or form. Again, it's easy to come down on Andrew on these things, and I'm really trying not to because A, I like him, B, he's really sharp, and B, he clearly won the debate. There's no doubt about it. But again, if you were really, really into this stuff and you boned up on facts such as, how much evidence from a pretrial actually makes its way into the actual trial, knowing Candace has been saying this for months and months and months on our podcast, he should have been ready to pounce on this, okay? I mean, this would have destroyed her if he looked at her and said, Candace, how about this? I can show you a slide, and then he goes to his back room people and goes, folks, can you put up this slide? And he shows that 93% is going to make its way to the trial and just looks at Candace and goes, huh? Okay.